O'Kane,
Here.
Shaner,
Here.
Scott,
Here.
Waters,
Here.
Moore.
Here. Stand for a moment of silent prayer followed by the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First up is interview for Ivan Salmon's Active Transportation Advisory Committee. Come on up to the microphone there and tell us a little bit about yourself and why you want to serve.
Okay. My name is Ivan Salmons, probably better known as Ike. When I was a kid, Ike was fine. Ivan, I knew I was in trouble. Anyway, I would like to be on the Active Transportation Advisory Committee for several reasons. I understand the need for our various trails and accessibility to our bus system and so forth. I'm also very interested in how it affects a business that I have become involved with. Well, I've been involved with it forever. My late wife's, well, my in-laws started it in 1955, in Tasty In and Out. And while this advisory board doesn't address that, it would allow me to become familiar with things that are going on in the transportation area. And that's another interest of mine. And that, I believe that that's pretty much it. On a personal note, I've wondered about the transportation for people who are, well, for myself. I guess that's the best place to go. I have injured my shoulder. It looks like I may eventually have to have shoulder surgery. I have nobody living with me. And I would just interested in how transportation is provided to somebody like me. And I think that's a concern in our city as well. So there's the reasons I'd like to be on it. Anything else?
I'm going to give you a little Sioux City history that most people don't understand. This guy was one of the first guys to really do a historic preservation project in the city of Sioux City. Yeah. The big house he lives in across the hill from Briar Cliff, set up here on about 14th Street, somewhere up in that neighborhood.
Yeah, next to Casa del Rey.
Next to Casa del Rey, and he cut that house in half and moved it out there and put it back together, or cut it somehow. But anyway, he was one of the very first historic preservation guys in this community. Am I right?
Oh, yeah. That's why I was on historic preservation for so long.
Yeah, you were one of the trailblazers, so good for you, and you still live there. That's even better.
Yeah.
So, questions?
Thanks for making the application. Appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
No doubt. And I would say, just to offer you some insight, I mean, when you're talking about having surgery and thinking about driving, you know, that would be more of the transit advisory board, possibly. You know, they run our bus system, our fleet system, whether it's paratransit or different things like that would be able to assist you with that, just so you know. Yeah. The active transportation versus the transit advisory.
And another thing that I have thought about, we used to have, I'm not sure if Uber is even active in our town anymore.
It is. It's a limited capacity, but it is offered. And
usually those cars were clean. Unfortunately, our taxis are not. Been in one. Didn't like it at all. So I've thought about that as well, as to what we might do about that situation, because that, people that come here would be, you know, like if you're at the airport or something, there's ways to get into town. However, if you ended up with a taxi, you'd be very disappointed. Anyway.
Okay,
enough of that.
any other questions?
No questions. Again, thank you for applying. And, you know, if you do get on this board, you will be able to offer a different perspective of that of a business owner,
Yeah.
somebody who's
I've
almost
been
maybe a senior
several
citizen.
business owners.
And you can give them that perspective and some examples
Okay.
from your experiences, so.
Thank you. We'll let
Oh,
you
yeah.
know. Hey, have a good one. Caitlin Dre, Effective Fiscal and Public Policy Committee. Tell us a
Good
little bit about
afternoon,
why you
Mr.
want to
Mayor,
serve.
councilors. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm Caitlin Dre, obviously, live in Sioux City, have lived here for the better part of the last 15 years, and am really proud of the improvements and investments that Sioux City has made over the course of my time here. I really believe in the power of community service. I also know that young women, I'm still considering myself young, I don't know when the cutoff is for that, but I'm leaning into it, can make a big difference in shaping that future. I'm, like I said, really proud of the improvements that I've seen. But I believe that most aspects of government are felt at the local level, and I want to understand how some of those decisions are made in order to be more effective in communicating what Sioux City is doing well, and then obviously advocating for us at state and potentially federal level as that opportunity arises. The other thing that was really prescient for me was my understanding that last year's legislative session included new laws about local taxation and control. And those policies will have likely a negative effect on Sioux City's budget. So I would, like I said, like to be able to speak confidently to legislators at the state level about the consequences intended or otherwise of their votes, and serving on this committee will allow that for me.
Good. Questions? What's antidote 71? Just,
Marketing and advertising.
oh, good. Okay. Any others?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for your time.
Stone Conley. Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you want to serve.
Absolutely. Good afternoon. My name is Stone Conley. I would love to serve on this board because I believe Sioux City's heading in a great direction. I've lived here now on and off for the last decade, graduated from the University of South Dakota with a Master's of Public Administration, state and local government emphasis. I've done a lot of work as the assistant to the city manager up there. Throughout my time there is mainly being an administrator on the side of a board or committee or commission. Now that I'm living down here, I work for the state of Iowa, Iowa DOT. I'm looking to get involved in the community. Over the last 10 years, I've seen growth on like a lot of different areas of similar size. The beautification of downtown, quite a bit of different businesses we're seeing coming into our community that maybe we didn't have once before, or in addition of like a second location. Some of these urban renewal projects like Rose Hill and a few different areas that are being touched on in Sioux City, Floyd, I know is going to be worked on as well. I would love to be a part of a board that basically can recommend to you on behalf of what we believe would be best for effective fiscal management, and then also overall how to draft the public policy, things of that nature, but also coming to you with kind of the idea of other citizens too, people that I know in the community, kind of what their wants are and what I'm hearing from some of them, kind of seeing around some of the stuff we're doing great. And then basically overall, the main thing I've heard is communication, kind of working on that to make sure that the community knows kind of what projects we're going through, how we're going to basically accomplish those projects, and maybe where in the financial situation it's going to take away from in the budget. Overall, I would love to be a part of this because I love Sioux City. I think it'd be a great opportunity for me to get involved within local government again. Again, I'm at the state level, and local government's my bread and butter, so I really enjoy working locally with people I know and also people who I live next to. So I would love to be considered for this position. I believe that my qualifications would allow for me to help continue with the success that Sioux City's had with the progression I've seen so far. So, yes.
Thank you very
Whose
much
place
for
did you
that.
take at DOT?
I work at the DOT station on Hamilton, so I'm not 100% sure.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah,
Okay,
yep. So
okay,
not
okay.
anyone
got
here at
you.
like the administrative
All
level,
right.
but
Yep,
DOT station
yep,
there,
okay.
yeah.
All right. Anything else?
Yes.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you,
your
guys.
passion.
Yes, thank you, guys.
Consent agenda today is items 3 through 13H. Consider them to pass unanimously unless a separate roll call vote is requested by a council member. Anyone wishing to speak on an agenda item should come to the podium as I read that item. If you want to speak on an item not on the agenda, please come up under citizen concerns. Remember to always state your name for the record. I'll move the consent agenda.
Second.
3 is a reading of the January 10th, 13th, and 16th city council minutes. 4 is a resolution accepting the donations from October through December 2024. 5 is a motion approving a certified local government annual report. 6 is a resolution adopting plans and specs for the Manners Circle paving project. 7 are resolutions awarding purchase orders to CDW government for VMware licenses. 8 are actions relating to boards and commissions. A is a motion appointing Corinne Erickson to the Environmental Advisory Board upon due consideration of the circumstances. The City Council waives the policy that no person shall serve on more than one board or commission. B is a motion appointing Rhonda Biggs to the Museum Board of Trustees. And C is a resolution approving Dean Stevens as a citizen representative on the Woodbury County Information and Communication Commission. 9 are actions relating to grants. A is a resolution approving applications to Simcoe MPO for the Surface Transportation Block Grant Program and Carbon Reduction Program. B is a resolution approving a sub-grant agreement with the Iowa Finance Authority for the Iowa Statewide Emergency Solutions Grant Program funds. 10 are actions relating to agreements and contracts. A is a resolution approving an extension with Bergen KDV for audit services. B is a resolution approving a settlement agreement and mutual release regarding claims with Northwest Landscaping versus Christensen Construction et al. C is a resolution approving a change order to the contract with Van Hoff Concrete for the Cone Destination Patio Project. E is a resolution approving a change order to the contract to Dostal's Construction for the Headington Park Splash Pad Project. E is a resolution approving a contract with Municipal Pipe Tool for the Riverside Boulevard and Hornick Avenue Emergency Sanitary Sewer Repair Project. F is a resolution approving a refundable advance from Mid-American Energy for the South Mulberry Street Improvement Project. G is a resolution approving a contract with Dixon Construction for the West Street Bridge Replacement Project. Parks and Recreation, 1 is a resolution approving a defense and indemnification agreement with Parks and Recreation Foundation. 2 is a resolution terminating and approving a new donation agreement with Parks and Recreation Foundation and rescinding Resolution 2024-0837 for the Chris Larson Park Riverfront Development Project. Items 10I, 1 to 3 are resolutions approving work orders for RS and H Iowa for the projects at the airport. 1 is Phase 1 of the South Apron Reconstruction Project. 2 is the North Apron Rehabilitation Project. And 3 is, is the Passenger Boarding Bridge Replacement Project. 11 are actions for authorizing payments. A is a resolution approving change orders and authorizing payment to Sioux City Engineering for 4801 Stone Avenue Emergency Pavement Project, Replacement Project. B is a resolution approving payment to I-State Truck Centers for accident repairs to Bus 1383. C is a resolution authorizing payment to SciCon for the Discovery Parking Ramp Repair Project. D are resolutions approving fund transfers for December of 2024. E is a motion approving total expenses for December of 2024. 12 are applications for alcohol license. 13 boards, commission, and committee minutes. Anyone to be heard on any of those items? Are you calling the roll? Go ahead.
Shaner.
Aye.
Scott.
Aye.
Waters.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
O'Kane.
Aye.
14 is an ordinance amending Chapter 25.02 zoning districts and land uses of the municipal code to provide for interim regulation pending the review of enforcement and implementation of the automobile sales, rental, and service ordinance. P and Z recommends a denial. First consideration was approved January 6, 2025. Second consideration was approved January 13, 2025. I'll move that.
Second.
Third reading. Anyone to be heard? Call the roll, please.
Wade, well, one thing I just wanted to say, Wade, I appreciate the due diligence and looking into this. Even in light of getting additional information, comparing us to 15 other cities, I would say I was shocked and was not shocked. I guess it was a little bit of both, that it's looking like we have about double per capita the amount of automobile sales locations. So shocked by that, and no wonder it seems like every corner. And so I appreciate the ability to go forward with this and just do some better planning so that hopefully it doesn't continue. Thank you.
I do have a question on that one. It seems like the majority of the issues that we have are related to used car dealerships. And in what you sent out to us, it sounds like you think that you'd be able to address that within 3 months.
Which
Around
planning?
that timeframe.
So the idea is to kind of break this out. And so right now, everything is included all in one group. We could go in and separate the new and used car dealers, just the used. There's also instances where there are car dealers that are completely inside of a building and there's no outdoors display. So that we could separate that, and then also separate the motorcycle and UTV dealers too. So the idea was to maybe break all those out. If we needed to look at some other further controls or standards, we could utilize that process and kind of target some of that if going forward.
Yes, and to add to that, that's what the Public Policy Committee is going to use this time for, is to find out if we could break this down into perhaps 3 tiers. We also want to be able to allow for perhaps a new major dealership or someone coming to town by breaking these out. You know, if Porsche or somebody wants to come here and open up a dealership, we want to be able to allow them to do it for economic development. However, if they're all lumped together, they won't be able to. So we want to take this time and work with you and your findings, put it all together and find out, come to the conclusion, can we separate motorcycles? Can we separate only a dealership that doesn't have any outdoor parking where they park vehicles or motorcycles or whatever it might be? So it may be 4 tiers, it may be 5 categories, it may be 2. But that's what the Public Policy Committee would like the time, so that we can thoroughly investigate it and really get a solid plan together to update that ordinance fully.
Yeah, so we'll also, with the Effective Policy Committee, and this will also go through P and Z, so we'll get their feedback. And so there will be a good kind of back and forth and kind of community-driven process to this. And we plan to meet with the dealers themselves too, again, the ones that we have met previously with. And we've talked to a couple of them already that they'd be willing to help with this, so.
So this is a 1-year moratorium.
This would be a 1 year, but if we came back with the
Well, you
changes.
can bring something back, I
And
understand.
that could be taken out, so that.
Here's my problem. I mean, I don't care about the 1-year moratorium because I am so tired of car lots, used car lots that cram so many cars in you can't walk through. And if you can't address that in an ordinance, then we're going to never have hope around here. Those on Lewis Boulevard, I know they're going to get angry at me, but there's just so many cars and you can't, some way you got to be able to control that.
Well, I like the idea, at one point, we were looking at how many vehicles per, square.
Right.
Or square foot.
But the problem, these guys are all grandfathered in now.
I think that's probably our larger problem. My question would be, I'm hesitant to say, to vote towards an entire year moratorium when you say that 3 months is what you estimate it would take to kind of look at everything. And when it seems like the majority of the problems that we're having are coming from used car lots or having too many used car lots. It seems like that's where a lot of our efforts should really be. Do you feel like a year moratorium is appropriate? I suppose would be my question.
This is kind of up to you guys, and like, we're kind of indifferent on this. We can do the work either way, and we can bring something back to you. If you guys want to put a moratorium, let us get this done, or if you want to not do a moratorium and let us get this done, we'll bring it back. I mean, that is up to you.
Yeah, I appreciate your honesty, Wade. You've worked hard on this. Plan and Zoning's worked hard on it. But I think you can do it at the same time and have good results. So I'm prepared to vote against this motion today, as I've in the past. I'm going to support the Plan and Zoning Commission's recommendation on it. But I think you've worked hard. I think you'll continue to work hard. I think you'll make a lot of progress without the moratorium. And I appreciate your honesty on your answer about that as well.
We work for the people of Sioux City.
I understand. No, I
So
understand.
what happens
That's
if I own a used car lot? Can I sell it?
As of right now, we would not be able to write a zoning letter to the Iowa DOT for it to go under a different name. I think if we went back, and I know we did research when this first went through last spring, and I think there was something around, in the last 10 years, there were like 8, we've written about, I think, around the 70 or 80 zoning letters for the car lots here in town. And that's over the last, since like, I think, 2015, so.
I don't have a problem with the moratorium, but I got a problem that if you sell, I don't know how you legally do that.
We have not discussed it.
Huh?
We haven't discussed that, so.
I don't think you can do that. You can't downzone a property and win. I'm practicing law here.
Very publicly.
You'll have to defend it, but I mean, that's like, good luck, because I don't think you can do that, but you can write me a memo tomorrow and tell me how wrong I am, but I don't believe I am, so.
Well, and that's maybe why, Matthew, I think what Wade was getting at is the year just gives them cushion, and if they have something done, then they can bring it back. Because I would hate for it to be, oh, we want, if you would change it or propose 3 months, and then it would take a little longer with discussions going back to P&Z, back to effective and fiscal, then it would have to come back, whereas a year would at least give you the cushion to.
But I'd almost be more comfortable with that because then we can have the conversation at that point and reassess and see what's been discovered since. So
That's your.
But we just keep getting more and more applications for new lots.
Yeah, I'm going to vote for the moratorium, but I'm going to ask for how you plan on enforcing what you just said you can do, because I don't.
Or developing a plan to go forward, yeah.
Well, and work on the plan a lot faster than a year too, but I just don't. I mean, I'll use an example. There may be a bar out here you and I don't like. But if they sell and it's been a bar, good luck trying to say you can't open it as a bar again, because if it's been a bar in the last year, you don't win that argument. I'm practicing law without a license, but
Do we have some kind of an ordinance for that for adult entertainment businesses?
There's actually an old moratorium related to regulation of adult businesses based on.
but that doesn't mean
So we
those that
don't-
are covered aren't grandfathered in if they sell. It just means you can't have one in that zone.
We can, research it. I'm not sure either. Because I understand your point.
Yep, I understand your point too. But we'll have-
All right, call the roll.
And how
Anybody
many-
heard? Call the roll.
Scott,
I'm going to vote aye because I think if somebody wants to sell, they still can personally, but I may be
Waters,
disappointed.
Aye.
Moore,
No?
O'Kane,
No.
Shaner,
Aye.
15 is a hearing and ordinance vacating approximately 207.
Look, Kyle Evans. I've just
Oh,
looked.
I'm
15,
just reading it,
on
Kyle. Okay, hang on. vacating approximately 270 square feet of Cleveland Street. The petitioners Sharon Mahone and Kyle Evans. I'll move it.
Second.
Public hearing is now open. Now go ahead.
Sorry, Kyle.
Sorry, I'm not sure of protocol.
No, you're good.
We're just looking for a vacation for that little sliver of property, that's all.
We're all looking for a vacation, man.
All right. Anyone else to be heard? The hearing is closed. Call the roll.
Waters,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
O'Kane,
Aye.
Shaner,
Aye.
Scott.
Aye. Anybody opposed to waiving the statutory rule?
No.
I'll move that.
Second.
Moore,
Aye.
O'Kane,
Aye.
Shaner,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters.
Aye.
Move second and third.
Second.
O'Kane,
Aye.
Shaner,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters,
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
It's vacated.
Congratulations. There you go.
16 is a resolution proposing to grant a temporary easement for the portion of Cleveland Street. The petitioners Kyle and Juanita Evans. I'll move that.
Second.
Shaner,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
O'Kane.
Aye.
17 is an ordinance amending Chapter 1303 definitions, Chapter 1307 sewer use, and Chapter 1314 fat, oil, and grease regulations of the municipal code. First consideration was passed January 6th. Second was approved January 13th, and I'll move third.
Second.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
O'Kane,
Aye.
Shaner.
Aye.
18 is a resolution approving the offer of sale of land from Gene Johnson for property at 1627 River Drive to be used in connection with the Riverside Flood Improvement Project. I'll move it.
Second.
Waters,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
O'Kane,
Aye.
Shaner,
Aye.
Scott.
Aye. 19 is a resolution approving a warranty deed for Gene Johnson for the property at 1627 River Drive to be used in connection with the Riverside Flood Improvement Project and authorizing payment. I'll move it.
Second.
Moore,
Aye.
O'Kane,
Aye.
Shaner,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters.
Aye.
20 is a resolution approving the offer of sale of land from Kalen Cranford for property at 1635 River Drive to be used in connection with the Riverside Flood Improvement Project. I'll move it.
Second.
O'Kane,
Aye.
Shaner,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters,
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
21 is a resolution approving a warranty deed with Caitlin Cranford for property at 1635 River Drive to be used in connection with the Riverside Flood Improvement Project and authorizing payment. I'll move that.
Second.
Shaner,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
O'Kane.
Aye.
Any citizen concerns? Anyone want to be heard? Seeing none,
Reagan, you wanted to come?
we'll go to Matthew.
Just one thing this week, there's a lot of tumultuous things happening at the federal level, and I get the added benefit of being a teacher, a lot of that firsthand in the classroom. We have a lot of community members whose immigration status may be questioned, and we have a lot of students that haven't shown up to school because they are in fear that they're going to be apprehended somehow, their family's going to be shipped out. That's caused a lot of tension in our community outside of the school walls as well. We are not a sanctuary city. I really wish we would look into the possibility of becoming a sanctuary city. I want to publicly thank Chief Mueller for his statements, trying to ease the public's concerns about it. But please realize that our community is staying afloat by our immigrant population. And if we were to round them all up and ship them out, that is not just our tax dollars, but our sales tax. That is what is repairing our roads. That is who is taking our jobs, not taking from you, but contributing to our community. It is really hard to stay afloat if our population is to decrease that amount in Sioux City. So if you know a family that's been affected, please help try and comfort them in this time where everybody's stressed out. And that's everything.
Okay. Julie?
I don't have anything today.
I would just remind folks that the Martin Luther King celebration was postponed a week, and so it's going to be tonight. It was postponed last week, I guess I should clarify. So it'll be taking place tonight. do you remember the name of the church?
Restoration Church, the old Morningside.
Restoration, thank you. Dan's got it. 7 PM?
7 PM.
7 PM. So I'll be there. I'm looking forward to it. It was unfortunate. It had to be postponed and rescheduled, but just in an effort to keep everyone safe, they wanted to do that, which I understand and can appreciate. So hopefully people are able to join and enjoy that tonight. The only other thing I would say is I will be traveling down to Des Moines. I had a press conference scheduled for different legislation that I was going down for, and it just so happens to be the chamber trip as well. So I'm gonna be able to hit all of those different meetings and hopefully have some of those discussions. I share Matthew's concern. I know a number of people in the community have reached out to me with concerns, and I appreciate the chief's statement and his willingness to just try to assure a large segment of our population that our law enforcement is focused on keeping our streets safe, and will continue to enforce those city ordinances as well as state law, and just act in an effort that we really think is becoming of what other law enforcement agencies should be doing as well. So I'll be going down there to talk about that as well as some of the concerns that we brought forward in our legislative day. Some of them was discussed at our budget hearing this past Saturday about some of the shortfalls we're experiencing due to the redirection of taxation going down to state funds, but hopefully we can make some headway or at least have beneficial conversations. So I'm looking forward to that, and I think that's all I have.
Dan?
As a follow-up to Alex's comments, so what the city council and the mayor are doing this evening, because we have two important events going on, the Martin Luther King Jr. Celebration, which the mayor and council members Shaner and Waters will be attending, and council member O'Kane and I will be attending the Mayor's Youth Commission orientation tonight here in the council chambers at 7 o'clock. We think both are very important to the community, and we work well enough to divide it up. That's exactly what we'll do when we have the National Night Out. We can't all go to every location within the time period, and so these have conflicting times at 7 o'clock. So 3 of us will be at the Martin Luther King Jr. celebration, and 2 of us will be at the Mayor's Youth Commission orientation. And I think, I do have, the Mayor's Youth Commission, you've heard on the news that Siouxland Cares will be closing, and we're taking steps, Siouxland Cares is taking steps to find the right entity that will keep the Mayor's Youth Commission operating, because that's a very important commission. I've believed in it since they formulated it, not just because I'm a council member. They do so much good for this community. And the youth, the high school students really buy into city government and local government. And they all have an interest. It's a strong interest. And it's just exciting to see what their thought processes are, what they see as issues, and how they work it out among themselves. I remind myself each week that we meet that we've got to be role models for the youth, for the students in this community, because that's how they're going to act when it comes to government work and appearing before a city council or any elected official body. So that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
I'll move we adjourn.
Second.
Scott.
Aye.
Waters.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
O'Kane.
Aye.
Shaner.
Hi.
Good night, everybody.
Tanner, you had an order to